Hey, this is Taylor. Just going to give a quick walkthrough of some of the design concepts I've done for this workflow issue that we're collaborating on. Uploaded a couple concepts already with comments, but just to give some more background of how I came to these, and since this is work in progress, we started by working through what does Duo mean, and what's the relationship between chat and workflow. And something that I'm struggling with is, why do we need two modes? I think eventually that goes away. But assuming we do need to have them, some of the things I've been exploring, in what cases would it be useful to have separate panels? So one I can think of is if you're using chat for something for speed and cost savings, and I can use maybe a different model that's better for maybe planning or quick question and answering, and then another one for agent, and that's more coding based. Perhaps you can have them open in multiple panels at once. So in that case, having them separated could potentially be useful because I could simultaneously have chat and workflow tasks going. Also, the bottom panel could be a nice place for workflow since it's a little bit wider, gives a little bit more UI space. If we go with shared panel, I know we've explored tabs, but I do think there's a lot of benefit to potentially going with just Duo, and maybe we make use of like the terminal allows different tab windows and that you can open and close. That again could allow concurrent tabs and working simultaneously and switching back and forth quickly without having multiple panels. Or maybe we go with one panel, but instead we allow users to have one at a time and switch between modes. So perhaps it's just between chat and workflow, which is very, again, describing as a feature, but maybe it should be done by task: chat, plan, execute. Again, just examples. So the other thing I'm trying to think through is, how can we integrate with our platform features? So the VS Code extension has some really useful features, such as being able to view merge requests or issues right within the IDE. And so if I'm starting with planning a task, I get requirements that are given to me as a developer. I think there's two different use cases. So there's the one where the planning's done for me already, and there's another one where I may be troubleshooting or discovering and iterating on the fly. And I think those do have different use cases of how they might want to interact with an agent. Allowing users to choose distinct agent modes could be useful in this case. Again, just a hypothesis, but how might it look? It'd be great if I could just copy the URL or attach it as context and say create a plan to resolve, attach the issue. Or maybe we even add a button into the extension page to allow me just to have Duo create a plan for me. So moving on, here's some examples. Duo presents an initial plan. Does Duo need to have an intent plan before it even starts? Maybe, maybe not. In this case, here's just a few examples. I'm really liking this I'm calling it like a suggestion bar at the bottom right above the chat box. The reason I like it is it provides consistency. I think it can be hard when Duo actions get interspersed within the panel right below, because it can get pushed below and require scrolling as a lot of the chat responses get long, and having it in one spot makes it just a little bit easier to know where to look. So perhaps we provide shortcuts for accepting a suggestion. You can revise it by using the chat box. And here, you revise it and you can then accept it. Maybe switch to Duo write mode if we do go that path of having separate modes. If not, it just continues. Here's an alternative where we just have one single Duo workflow mode. And so you just have chat and workflow. Again, maybe chat just goes away, and this sort of segmented button becomes irrelevant, but it looked very similar. Perhaps we add a divider here, dim the text so to make it obvious which is the current question. That's something that I do find can get a little bit confusing, is if you have to scroll a lot, especially if the responses are long and then you don't quite know where to scroll to immediately. If you are moving up and down and reading through, maybe going back to the start, etc. So perhaps we show divs in line. Ideally, we are able to chunk them. If you do have multiple suggestions in one, It'd be nice if you could toggle between them, accept, maybe even revise them. I think if being able to revise and target just one without having to throw away the whole chat or mess everything up. How this works, I think, could use some more exploration. Maybe we make use of our quick chat inline to make one-off modifications, or perhaps it just continues in the same panel. But I think that is something that could definitely use some testing there. So just a few examples of what it might look like. Again, these are on the issue for more details. And another one I'm playing with is the task status. So perhaps right above, again, the suggestion bar, we can show a badge, if it's running, if it's paused, if it's stopped, canceled, there's an error. These are just example states, definitely just trying to mock up some quick ideas. But perhaps if you click on this badge, it opens and you can see the state of the task. So this helps the user maintain an understanding of the system status and know where they are in the process of the plan that they set up before. Yeah, again, just an idea, but I'm really treating this as secondary information and trying to keep it from taking up too much space or becoming a little bit confusing, because this is prime real estate. There's almost all Duo's answers are going to require scrolling of some sort because there's just not enough screen real estate. So otherwise, it's all very similar. Again, here's maybe we suggest terminal commands. You can run them right from here with a click of a button, or you can copy and paste them into the terminal. Maybe we even allow a view button. So when it's running, the user can just have the terminal open and then they can see the messages themselves. And yeah, here's an example of a block task. So there's an error. Duo tried to fix it, couldn't do it. And then it suggests another resolution, but you see that you're in an error state and it won't proceed until you give it a command. In this one, the user manually canceled it. So canceling could be something that we provide every time the task is running. In the suggestion bar, you just kind of click the button or use the shortcut. So these are just a few early explorations, but definitely interested to hear your feedback. Thanks.